My son was 1.5 years. And a man come to the door and had a brochure, beautiful, it looked like Jamaica. And he said it's going to be a place where you can picnic and bring the kids to play and
hike, fish, camp, boat.
They held up a picture of a woman in like a bathing suit, water skiing.
I thought, oh great, they said by 2000s we're going to have a recreational lake, that's nice.
The lake was a promise, made by a coal-fired power plant, now owned by First Energy. They dammed a stream and filled the surrounding valley with coal ash. They said the coal ash would harden and form a cement base, where Little Blue Stream would become Little Blue Lake.
To me, it sounded great. I'd want a state park up there where you could take a camper up and camp, you know. But funny thing, things changed.
we just thought this would be where we would end up at and always be.
As the power company dumped coal ash into the valley behind their home, Kurt and Deb Havens started to notice changes.
It turned teal blue, and everybody then, it was a joke. It's sort of like, oh, we're in Jamaica.
People actually called it the Pennsylvania Caribbean. Then, strong odors began to drift through the neighborhood.
You could be sitting outside, and all of a sudden here comes this whiff of rotten egg, sewer, hydrogen sulfide. I, have to come in the house because of my breathing.
Deb started to track the smells. As the air worsened and the lake changed, residents began to wonder about the coal ash being used to create the lake. They learned that coal ash is a toxic waste created when coal is burned to make electricity, and that it's filled with pollutants like arsenic, lead, and mercury. The more they knew, the more they were concerned.
What coal ash has are the toxic elements that are naturally found in coal. When you burn the coal, the burning concentrates those elements in the ash so that you have chemicals like arsenic, cadmium, chromium, selenium, thallium, deadly chemicals that were originally in the coal and get concentrated after burning.
Every year, coal-fired power plants generate more than 140 million tons of coal ash. State and federal agencies like the EPA have failed to adequately regulate this waste. Our household garbage is better regulated than toxic coal ash. So sites like Little Blue are essentially unlined and unmonitored dumps. There are more than 1,400 coal ash pits across America, and of all those, Little Blue is the biggest.
There's times I've come through here and the chemical smell is so bad that it actually, I can taste it on my tongue and it burns my eyes. And that's why I don't ride my bike out here anymore with my kid, because I don't want my child smelling that.
Sabrina Mislevy felt safe in her community. But in addition to the colors and the odors, a new problem is challenging that.
Oh my God. That's coal ash. You can see it floating right there as a substance. And it doesn't stop as it goes all the way to the creek. After it's in the creek goes right down that way and into the Ohio River. So it's all this stuff, this chemicals and stuff, is flowing into the Ohio River. How are folks supposed to be healthy and enjoy life and fish and hunt when we keep having, companies pollute our waters? They're killing the forest and the wildlife and us humans.
Well, I've lived off my land for some 20 years. My children grew up on this land. with the expectation that my grandchildren would be on this land. And I can't do that anymore.
Teresa Cooper is one of the homeowners in the area who recently found out that coal ash has poisoned her drinking water.
Well, right now I understand the DEP has mandated First Energy to bring water from city up into my house. Unfortunately, that does not fix my world, being my cattle eat off the land. There's springs everywhere. My garden has many springs under it. You know, at what point is my garden no longer safe to eat? At what point is my water no longer safe to drink? You know, at what point is this happening? It's happening now, as to my understanding. To know that I potentially must pack up everything I own, everything that my essence has become in the last 20-some years, pack it all up and move it somewhere else, it is very disturbing. This is my home.
The pollution poisoning Teresa's land and the rest of the community has the exact same chemical makeup as the coal ash in Little Blue.
You get angry, you get mad, you get sad. There's never a happy.
So instead of the promised recreational lake, First Energy made a leaky garbage can 2.5 miles wide. Then they filled that garbage can with toxic waste. The more that coal ash poisoned their community, the more the residents knew they had to do something. Kurt filed Freedom of Information Act requests.
It's sad, these corporations puts money over health or money over families.
Deb and her neighbors started organizing the community.
I have to stand up. I'm not going to take this sitting down. And again, it's not just for me. It's for my people I've known all my life. It's for the generations to come.
Happy loves you.
Together, they all formed the Little Blue Regional Action Group, and nearly everyone joined the fight to save their neighborhood and their neighbors.
It makes people realize that yes, your voice can be heard, and yes, it does matter how you feel. You can make a difference.
And the state is not enforcing. Citizens can bring what's called a citizen's lawsuit.
Environmental organizer Lisa Graves Marcusi began working with the community.
Came right up to me and said, "Thanks for coming. What can we do? Let's roll up our sleeves." They're like can-do people, and they did can-do right from the beginning.
They organized meetings, met with reporters, pressured politicians, and eventually filed a lawsuit.
If you have a permitted site, you have areas where you're allowed to discharge, you have permission to discharge. These were not authorized discharges, so these were violations of federal and state law. They caused the problem. They were uninvited, they intruded in on the neighborhood, and I think we filed a notice of intent to sue. And for the first time, First Energy and Little Blue were being told what they were doing was violating laws. Industry likes to divide and conquer. So if the community sticks together and the information is what holds it together, people are going to stand up and say, wait just a minute. So there subsequently has been a federal court order for certain things to happen. One of it is closure of the nation's largest unlined coal ash impoundment. That's good news, but we're now working with the citizens to make sure that it's not only closed, but it's cleaned up. There's a lot of damage that has been done. How do we stop it and prevent any further damage?
We have to do something and quit polluting the ground and the air and families.